Welcome to another episode of Beyond the Beat, where we not only talk about everyday problems, we talk about everyday solutions. Hey, James.
Hey, Bob. What's happening? How you doing, buddy?
I flubbed the intro.
Yeah, that's all right. I like it when you make a mistake. You know what I mean?
I actually flubbed it again. In fact, it was like, but whatever.
That's all right.
Matter.
Sometimes we have marbles in our mouths. I don't know.
Stupid. I don't know. I was all excited about hitting record again.
I know. You're like, I don't want to miss any goals.
We're on a good topic.
Let's get her going. Yeah. Not a good topic. I
topic.
disagree with you. That wasn't necessarily a good topic.
Last week was so positive. It was,
Yeah, you kind of threw up in your mouth a little bit when you listened to
radio,
it, right?
Yeah.
I thought it was great radio, personally. Of course, it was
did.
because you gave me a little bit more airtime and I got to talk about the Raiders, but
Yeah, but it wasn't near as negative as it's supposed to be. I mean,
I know, but you're
not as entertaining. Well, it was fun to see you so happy.
Yeah,
but I don't know.
I'm still happy.
I'm still happy for that.
I'm still happy.
Well, let's get you unhappy.
You got a little something for me already, huh? You're gonna go back to what we were talking about before we joined here.
We may as well.
Okay. I don't want to.
No?
We can. I'm just kidding with you. Of course we can.
We're talking about your weight.
We were. We were.
But we were talking about collectively our weight because we've always kind of fluctuated back and forth. And I figured this out. That's a very dangerous thing with weight. By the way, do you weigh yourself every day?
Not anymore.
Yeah. See, this is okay. This is what we do when we don't want to know.
Yeah. No, well, it's not really about that. It's the games we play with ourselves, right?
Yeah.
Because I could weigh myself every day and be like, oh, I just had a lot of salty foods last night. That's what it was. Like I know I'm not gaining 5 pounds overnight. There are things that kind of come into play. So when you weigh yourself every day, it's probably, some say it's good, because you can keep your eye on things and track things, and some say it's not. And this is, what I've been told by various different professionals.
professional weight loss people. Well, it's interesting because I love when people say, "Oh, it's just water weight." I'm like, we are mostly water. So
that's true.
But
I have more of it when I get Chinese food the night before. You know what I mean?
Yeah, of course. Because
my hands feel like they're all swollen like balloons, and
it is true. Chinese food does that to me.
It's crazy,
too.
Right?
It puts on a gut. Well, first of all, is this an Italian thing? I've always been told it's like I'm Italian, so as soon as I eat, it goes right to my belly. And but I have this. There are times I will eat a meal, I'm full, and my belly all of a sudden is like, where did that come from? Yeah,
totally.
And then it goes down after a little while. Is that like? Does that happen to you?
100%.
It's weird,
the thing
right?
is, I'm a belly guy, right? So some people are kind of they can gain weight all over and whatever, which I would almost prefer because I'm more of the Homer Simpson build, where it's just everything else is thin. I got no butt at all. You got no butt, right? I got skinny legs, and then if I gain weight, it's just my stomach, right?
Pot belly,
and it's it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. I'm not even that overweight, but you could see it because my t-shirts just kind of go out a little. You know what I mean?
I don't know if that's worse.
It's ridiculous.
I'm more of a bulk weight guy, and it goes right in my face. And what's weird about that is, I can think that things are fine. And I'm looking, and then I look in pictures. I'm like, holy mackerel! I got this big old neck and head.
Yeah, so maybe you don't see it as much. Maybe I notice it more because it's it's
right there.
Boom, it's right in my belly. It's right there.
Yeah, you could see it.
Yeah.
But here's what happens to me is that when I weigh myself every day, and you're right.
As a gentleman with OCD, that does not surprise me.
Right, and I track it, of course.
Yeah, of course.
It goes into my Wi-Fi.
Yeah.
No, it does. I have a Wi-Fi scale.
Nice.
Goes into my log. And it's actually not bad when you do that because you can see a trend, right?
Sure.
And you're right. It does happen. You fluctuate and then you get this. But what it does for me is if I see that I have put on even water weight or bulk weight, whatever else for a day, I cut it back. So for me, it actually works well. But here's the problem is that you reach a certain level. I lost a bunch of weight I don't know, a few years back, I went to the doctor and, didn't get the best of reports. And and I was like, okay, that's it. I'm cutting out alcohol. I'm cutting everything. And I lost like 15 pounds. Yeah. Right. That's a whole different story, but I'm getting ready.
We're not going there. Let's not.
Yeah, I think we should.
Going.
But okay, so this one, but so I lost a bunch of weight. And then my new normal was at the time, let's say like just under 180, which is pretty
Yeah, I haven't been under 180.
Thin for me. But this is normal, but I'm not that tall, so people can't see that. But I'm 5'9".
He looks taller than me because he's standing all the time. And I'm
right, that's why I do it.
Yeah, exactly.
You're definitely
otherwise it would just be the top of Bob's head. But there he is. And here's little Bob Caporale.
But you're like what, 5'11", 5'6"? You're 5'11".
5'11".
I'm like
5'6". Anywhere between 5'11" and 5'6". So.
I was 5'11" or 6.
Okay, gotcha. No,
I'm 5'9", but of course I say 5'10". Yeah. I'm like, no, 5'9" is my normal. But on my driver's license, 5'10", because I don't drive without shoes. This is what the people say, like, right?
Come on,
do I ever drive barefoot? I never drive barefoot.
You're gonna round up on your license because you drive with shoes on?
Says, please get out of the car, and I'm wearing shoes.
Like,
and
no.
Wait a minute.
He's not. Hold on a second. This said 5'9" and a half. You're actually 5'10". This is not Bob Caporale.
Exactly. I think that makes perfect sense. Anyway.
Of course you do.
Also, I've shrunk a little, in fairness. So
anyway,
all that to say, let's say back to the scale, I was just under 180, and my weight, like my weight, was 180 at the time. So like I'd gotten used to, if I reach 180, I've got to do something, right? And then of course I reach 180. And then my new weight becomes
but I look okay. But I'm okay. It's okay to be 180.
I want to lose it, but then, my family's coming in, or they want to go to Little Italy.
I'm going to have to eat, so I got to lose a little, gain more.
So then like the new target, the new weight becomes like, let's say 185. And then eventually you reach that. And then you have a new weight. So like every time you reach your weight, right? You're like, oh, well, at least I'm not this. And then you reach that and you're like, well, okay. And it's this weird kind of mind game. And all of a sudden you just keep on.
Your weight right now is 200 pounds. That's
no, it's not. It's not.
I know it's not where you are, but I'm looking at my weight and my height and your height, and I'm going, all right, so I'm not sure if the 1 inch justifies a 20-pound difference, but
I don't know what it should be.
We can go with that if we want.
I guess we can calculate it, right?
Yeah.
It's all not something I feel like doing right now.
There's different body types. There's different things, right? Yeah. Like I happen to be a little bit more muscular than you, so I might not be able to do as many push-ups, but muscle weighs more than fat, so I'll just use that as my rationale and say, that's okay a good reason.
I never consider myself to be like some muscular guy, so whether that's true or not, if that helps you. That's good.
That's all I need is just a little help up here. My son reminds me though. He's good because he's like 6'1" already. He's 15 years old.
Is he really?
Yeah.
Wow. Well, you know what you always do is you do these like kind of crash things. Like you do the no carb thing for a while. And then once you're off that, I suspect that you're off it good.
Well, what happens is my body, your body turns around and says, "Oh, you haven't had carbs for a while." Then when carbs come, like, what do I do with this? Let's make fat, and they just, you know what I mean? It's just,
let's make it all right here in the belly.
Exactly. But over the past like 10 months, I've been sitting a lot more, right, for different things, for work and whatnot. So I've got to do something. I got to get a stand-up desk like you have and whatnot. I got to try to do some more when I'm at my desk working, because I've always been active, right? We've always been on the road doing stuff. You go to the gym. You're always moving, and when you just stop and your body's stagnant, you're like, things hurt a lot more now, and and you gain weight a lot easier. I still play baseball on Sundays, which is the one thing that kind of keeps me like, all right, I can't be too big,
right,
and all stuff like that. It kind of keeps me honest, but weight is an interesting thing for me because I grew up in a household where it was talked about constantly, right? My dad had the same build as me, right? He always thought about, what does his stomach look like? Is he losing weight? What is his weight? What does it look like? And how do you know? And I find myself in the same shoes. Like, he used to get upset with my mother. It's so funny, right? He used to get upset at my mom, be like, why do you bring this crap in the house? Why do you put this stuff in the house? Because I'm just going to eat it, and it's like you're giving how about we take accountability for eating the damn, and I say the same thing to my wife, and I'm like, why do you bring this crap in the house? I'm just going to eat it, and I'm going to, like, it's not up to me whether or not it goes in my mouth, right? It's up to her of whether she brings it in the house. It's the most ridiculous thing in the world,
My family was always really on that too. It started with my grandmother. My grandmother's family was like really fit, really skinny, and really insecure, because I'll never forget, like, this is the running joke with my family, is my grandmother would like talk about my grandfather's family, and they were like typical, fighting couple that probably shouldn't have been together for as long as they were, but they were. Right? They were great though. I love them both. Both passed, but she would always be like, she'd tell the story of my grandfather. Oh, they always had such beautiful faces. They were the most beautiful. We didn't have the beautiful faces. We always had the bodies, but they had the beautiful faces. They had the beautiful faces, but awesome. Fat.
That's awesome.
They're right there.
Yeah, right.
That was the thing. And so to her, it was like always a thing to talk about. Is like how fat you're getting too fat. But then at the same time she's doing that, she's making sure that you eat as much as possible. Because if you didn't eat her food, it was an insult, right?
Exactly.
So it's like you basically are like the waiter we talked about the other day, right? You're feeding me as much as possible and then saying, "Oh my God," and then
ridiculing me. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, have you been gaining a lot of weight? You're looking a little big. It's like, Grandma, what do you want?
Yeah, totally. Usually it was little snide comments, a little thing like, "Hey, you're looking a little big," a little tap on the stomach or something. Hey, how you doing? You're eating good, You're eating good. Taking care of yourself, I see.
They also had favorites. Did your family have favorites, like the Italian favorites?
As far as like people?
People, yeah.
Oh, I was always the favorite, yeah.
So
I'm the youngest of 4 boys, so the youngest always has the best.
So my brother was her favorite, right? And although I still think that I have way more in common with her. Like she's like, but my brother's her. So like if I gain a little weight, she's like, "Wow, you're getting a little chubby." My brother would gain weight like way more than me at the time. I'd be like, "Oh my God, he looks so good. God bless him. God bless him." When you should be insulting somebody,
healthy, you know what I mean? For him, it's healthy. For you, it's fat, right?
You should be insulting somebody. You say, "God bless him." Oh, he looks good. God bless him.
That's so funny.
That's great. Why does God have to bless him then if he looks so good?
So good, yeah. God already did, apparently. Thanks.
Anyway, it was always a thing. So I guess you grew up we grew up the same way.
You grow up with it and you talk about it, you think about it. You realize that it becomes like this thing that's in like, I wish it wasn't, because I don't want to give it to my kids. I don't want them to always think like that. Weight is so much. Weight is important. Weight is this. I think I'm screwed. I already did.
I'm sure I did
too late.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's interesting when you look back and you think about the amount of times that you heard it growing up, and now that you've become sort of the same sort of thing where you're thinking about it all the time and you're this and that and you're measuring yourself and shirt doesn't fit right. I gotta wear this. You get mad when you're getting ready to go out when you're not in the shape that you want to be and you're like, "Oh, no, the shirts fit me. I look like Homer Simpson or look like this or that, or I can't go out like this." It's unfortunate when those things happen. I wish I was more body positive with how I look.
Body positive.
I wish I was more body positive.
I don't even know what all that. I mean, I'll tell you this. I try not to care about it for vanity. I certainly don't care about for other people. People should be and do and whatever they want to do.
Yeah, right? I don't either.
It doesn't bother me. But for myself, it is purely for vanity, I'm sure, right? I'd like to think it's for health reasons, and there's probably some aspect to it, but the real truth of it is, I think it's mostly for vanity.
I'm not going to sit here and tell you it's not for the same reasons for me. It's for vanity reasons. I mean, obviously it's healthy, but I'm also not, 250 pounds. I mean, I don't think I've got enough weight to really make things a problem. I'm moving around, I'm running, I'm playing, like I said, playing baseball, doing other things with the kids and stuff, and I'm active. But it's purely vanity. It's purely how I'm viewed. Yeah.
Because the other thing is, I'm not so sure how much. I'm sure anybody would disagree with me, but I'm being way overweight is probably pretty unhealthy. But I mean, both you and I have known plenty of people who are overweight and outlive lots of people who are not. Right?
Yeah, for sure.
All this stuff that we're always told, right, about like what you should do and shouldn't do and should be and shouldn't be. Like, I wish I could see it with my own eyes, but everything we've ever been told by the medical industry of like what's supposed to be healthy and what's not supposed to be healthy, my own eyes have told me something completely different from that, right? And it's like,
for sure.
I don't understand like how but I don't know, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I just haven't seen enough. I'm not completely sure, but it's weird, right?
It's weird, right? And we've taken more of a look at some of that stuff in the recent years, right? I mean, we've just taken more of a closer look at what's real and what's not, and what's truth and what's not, and what are we just going along for the ride for? What have we been going along with the ride for? And just believing the professionals because that's what they are.
That's what they're supposed to tell us, right?
Right? They know more than me. They're great at their job. I'm going to listen, and that's where I'll learn it from. But we start questioning a little bit more now as certain things come out where maybe that wasn't the best thing for me, or maybe that isn't the reason why I have this, or maybe I shouldn't be taking this medicine or that medicine, or maybe we should be working harder as opposed to medicines in some areas when possible, right?
Yeah.
Things like that. And we start questioning it a lot more, Any way you look at it, I'm still overweight. You know, it's still the case.
I don't know how. Well,
all the drugs in the world are not helping me, man.
You. I mean, not taking it.
You know, I'm not. Well, they wouldn't help me.
They wouldn't help you. Yeah. Well, here's the other thing too, is that like, okay, so I was, we were on the food thing last week or the week before about like the food industry and how it tells you one thing.
Yeah.
So I've been more conscious of this. So, when I lost all this weight, one of the things that I did was I cut out too much snacky stuff, or, for me, it was like dairy and cheese and ice cream. That's my version of snack. Yeah. So I cut most of that stuff out, including butter, and so one of the things I did
cut out butter.
Yeah, I cut out butter. Yeah. Like I did. I did. But it's actually very interesting because I was putting butter as a spread on, toast or this or bagels.
Sure.
I like butter, but I replaced it with other things like avocado or honey. And it's actually, I really like it.
Smart,
I don't know. But here's the other thing I did is I stopped cooking with butter. And so I started using olive oil spray, right? Which I figured that's healthy. That's going to be good, right? Yeah. So I've been doing this for the last however many years thinking nothing of it.
Yeah.
And then, of course, I decided to turn the can around to see what's in the olive oil spray, thinking that it was olive oil, which, of course, it mostly is. But then the last ingredient is dimethyl silicone. And I'm like,
so you put some silicone. That's to stop it from sticking, Bob. You got it.
I'm thinking, like, okay, I'm being healthy. I'm doing the olive oil spray. And then they're like pumping a steady diet of chemicals into me. So, like, this is the problem, right? Like, if I was actually eating clean, but you're not if you're buying anything out of a can, I guess.
I'm gonna tell you this real quick, just in case you didn't know. I'm sure you figured it out already. I'm sure you went on and bought what you needed and got what you needed. But they do make a container that you can put real olive oil in that spritzes it out, that you can use when you're cooking things in a pan.
My wife got that.
Okay, and there is an avocado oil spray that doesn't use the silicone in it. That's pure avocado oil. Have it at Costco if you're ever interested. So that's helpful too.
That's very helpful.
Yeah. So hopefully that
Well, my wife got it. She got a bad one though, and so like it didn't work very well. It clogged up a lot.
Yeah.
And so
just the one you put the olive oil in?
Yeah. So I was like, well, I'll just use this. And stupid me for not reading the can. I mean, obviously I know to do that, but I did. Now I don't know how much of silicone is in it. I don't even know if it does anything to you, but I'm assuming that it does. I mean, that's not like something that nature gives you.
It's like, just not what it is.
Have some silicone. Yeah.
Right. It's like, it's just when you want to have olive oil, you want to have olive oil.
Right.
I don't want to have other things in it that I don't know about. I got to research. The same thing like when you're eating a piece of fruit. If you have an apple, I want to have an apple. I don't want to have pesticides. I'm just saying.
I don't want to have
these things.
Right,
I didn't order this. I
want to have steak, not antibiotics.
And
right?
we are exactly. And when we're going along our life and we're busy and we're cruising around and we're picking things off shelves and we're doing this and doing that and going to different things, I don't have time to read all the labels, but I wish I did, because there are things that are sneaking. There are things, you have to, right? But there are things that are snuck in some of our diet for sure.
Yeah. Anyway, that's been what I've been thinking about. But listen, I think you look good. God bless you.
Thank you. You know what? From the neck up, you're all right, Let's. You look good too, buddy. You're good.
Tall.
You look very tall. You look like taller than the shelf behind you that houses your favorite friend. You look taller than Footsie. You look tall.
I am taller than a football, but
because Footsie's right behind you, so you look like you're taller than that shelf. But I don't think you are.
That's a tall shelf. No, I'm not even close to that.
That upward angle. It's kind of how they made like giants in
movie
movies
stars,
and stuff. Yeah.
Movie stars are like that too. You see them in person, you're like, wow, you're short.
Hey.
But this is another thing that happens to me a lot is that I never, because in my family I'm kind of average to tall, right?
Okay.
And so when I am with my friends, whatever else, I never. My friend, well, that's you. But if I'm like anybody, like if I'm taking a picture, I remember in college, I went to college in the Midwest, and I never fancied myself as a short guy, right?
Yourself,
fancied myself, and so I'm always thinking like I never really think that I'm the shortest among them. And then they take a picture of us, and it's like me and six buddies, and it's like, and then there's Bob, and then there's like a valley of Bob, and I'm like, what? Wow,
that's my story of my life, by the way.
That's incredible.
Yeah, that's the story of my life. I'm the shortest in my family. Well, outside of my mom, of course. But my father was taller than me, and all my brothers are taller than me.
Wow.
I am the shortest by probably like an inch or two. Like it's not like a little bit, right?
What part of Italy was he from?
What's that?
What part of Italy was he from?
He was from Bari.
I don't know that matters.
Yeah,
but
right. I don't know if that matters either.
Doesn't seem normal. Most Italian families are like average height, I would say.
Yeah, no, I
don't know.
think it's probably my own fault. Like, when you're the youngest of 4 boys, you get introduced to things that stunt your growth at a much younger age. So, if I'm 12 years old rolling around with a pack of cigarettes rolled in my sleeve, and probably didn't help my height, and drinking some cocktails at a young age, and then, all that sort of stuff.
Were you that kind of a kid? I
for a little while, it was bad. It was bad. It was, I snapped out of that quick. So I got over it quick. By 8th grade, I was already through rehab. I'm just kidding.
Oh, God, please. There's no way.
Totally kidding. Totally kidding.
But you went through a little
maybe
thing,
that's what I have to blame it on. I probably didn't take good enough care of myself at a young age, because I'm the shortest by an inch. It's just too big of a difference.
Yeah, you think so?
It's too big of a difference. Or maybe my dad isn't my dad. I don't know.
That's what I was going to say.
I don't know, maybe. But, it's really funny because, all my brothers are like 2 years apart, right? Like my oldest one's 7 years older than me, and then 5, and then 3, and then 3 years, right? So it's like 2, 2, 2, 3. Oh, and I'm like, oops, and they call me the oopsie daisy, right?
Yeah.
And when I was growing up, my name was Jamie, right? So the big joke was, my mom had 3 boys. She wanted a girl, but I came. So she still called me Jamie. I mean, my name's James, obviously.
Yeah,
right? So all this sort of stuff. And then the question was like, milkman? Am I, that big thing. Am I, different. And then I looked at one of those Snapchat filters. They have the ones that like make you look old.
Yeah.
I looked just like my father.
Really?
It is
uncanny
cool. How much it looked like my dad at an old age. And I was like, all right, I feel better now.
Yeah, I know that I'm my parents' kids. The same thing. I look exactly like them. But I knew a person who was one of 6 or 7 sisters, and the father wanted boys and named every one of them a pure boy's name, pure out boys' names. And I was like, wow, that's something.
What's a way to go about it, I guess.
I don't know if it's going to change anything, but
exactly.
Okay.
Obviously not.
That's
today's day and age, it could be they could keep the same name, I guess, if they wanted to make any transitions.
What's in a name? But it's a weird kind of thing. So anyway, well, there you go. So now we got to know each other again. So what's going on in life today that we should be beefing about? What do you think?
Well, I don't really, right now my brain's in a lot of places. My son's not feeling well. My wife's not feeling well. I'm in a sick house, Bob. So
you're in a sick house.
I'm in a sick house. You get
a lot of sick houses because you guys do a lot of things.
I haven't in a while, but the boys started back up with football, and we talked a little bit about that last week. So he's been playing a lot and whatnot, and you're in the face of people, and locker rooms are disgusting. So
they are,
so I'm sure he caught something. I don't know if my wife got something from that. Whatever. They're all just kind of in their places. So my brain's been a little occupied this morning.
Maybe speaking of sick houses, you could explain something to me.
Sure.
People who wear masks in their car. What? Can someone I know. Listen, I try not to judge people who want to wear masks or not. I was not a mask guy. Judge me however you want to judge me. I never once said if you wear a mask, you're this or that. I never once said if you don't wear a mask, because masks.
And if you needed to, you would wear it if you went somewhere.
Because it's another bunch of baloney that has, even the masks themselves say they don't stop viruses. You wear a mask, you smell everything around. It's like it was a bunch of baloney. It came out that it was a bunch of baloney. Right. So to me, it was like, make your own choice, do what you want to do. And I'm not going to judge you. You don't judge me, right? Of course, that didn't happen, but whatever. And so this is a similar thing. If people want to walk around with masks, walk around with masks. Just don't make me do it. And, but it doesn't mean that I understand it when people wear a mask when they're alone in their car. And now that COVID is kind of coming up again, whatever else, I'm seeing it a lot. Like people driving around, they're in their car by themselves and they're wearing a mask. And I'm thinking to myself, what is that? Do you have any insights on this? I'm not sure what this is.
Oh, I have seen this and I've talked to people about this, and people have actually expressed, like, what are they doing? Why is this happening?
Why is it happening?
I can't find any logic in it at all. Like, I can't find logic in it. My only explanation is that maybe they forgot that it's on. Maybe they're wearing it somewhere and they're forgetting that it's on, or maybe
no way.
There's no way, right?
There's no way.
Maybe there's a baby in the back or something, and they don't feel well.
There's got to be some cases like that, but I've seen people get in the car, strap in, put on the mask, like it's
put it on in the car,
put it on like it's part of the seatbelt, right?
That's strange to me.
In other words, they're coming out of their house, right? And they get in, they strap in, they put the mask on. Now, if they're at a store. Yeah, I get in the car and it's maybe that's probably the majority of it. Is they're already in the store, they put the mask. But I mean, when we were required to wear masks, I'm telling you, the minute I hit that car,
I couldn't wait to take it off. I couldn't wait to take it off. But it was so annoying, and oh my god, it was the worst.
History drove me crazy. Of course, we couldn't say anything. Oh my goodness gracious, we were banned from the world for God forbid.
Words.
It was unbelievable that whole time period, which I'm sure we'll get into.
At some point. Yeah. We will.
I don't know that we're ready yet.
No.
But it still gets me so mad.
Yeah.
And here, like I say, you want to drive around in your car with a mask on, drive around in your car.
I don't get
have fun with it, but I just don't understand why. What do they think it's doing?
Yeah, I don't. Right? There's nothing that I can make a connection to outside of either there's someone in the back and they're not feeling well, or there's someone in the back that they think is sick, whatever it may be that I can't see. But I can't say that that's always the case, because you're not the first person to bring this up to me, right? People have brought this up and said, why are people wearing masks in a car while they're driving?
Weird.
And if anybody has an answer to that as you're watching this, please let us know, because I really am not even just ridiculing. I'm just curious. Even if you're a mask person, even if you're worried, even if this is a big concern in your life, you're, autoimmune or whatever it is, I'm still trying to understand why people would do that in a car by themselves.
And this is not a debate on
mask
if
conversation.
You feel that masks do something, then it's fine. I'm not judging you for wearing a mask. You do what you want to do. As long as you don't judge me, I won't judge you, right? I'm sure some people will judge, whatever, but I'm not judging you. What I really just want to know, what is the reason? Is it just make you feel more comfortable? Is it so that you don't forget when you get out of the car?
There's something else I just thought of. Maybe when you're in a car and you have sort of the rear view mirror, right?
Yeah.
Maybe people just don't like the way their face looks. Maybe they're ugly and they want to wear a mask because they think it's better than the look of their face. You know what I mean? Like maybe they're like, you know what, this was better. When I was doing this, I was a lot happier because they didn't have to look at my face.
Yeah,
maybe that's the case.
Right? Maybe they're about to rob a bank.
Stockings work much better for that,
Well,
the old school.
When we get into this thing, there are a couple of things that could be plausible. Okay, so I'm going to give you three.
Let's try it.
3.
Give it a shot.
One, this comes from my wife.
Okay.
She said, when COVID was happening, she's not a mask person either, but when COVID was happening, she's like, one thing that never happened to me is I didn't get allergies. She's like, because we were wearing the mask all the time and like all the pollen, which masks would stop pollen, I would imagine, right? So she's like, I really didn't get as bad of an allergy. I was like, okay, that's good. So that's one.
Yeah, that would make some sense.
All right. Similar to that too is, before all this stuff, I used to do some traveling to China and overseas and so forth. And in China, people would wear masks. And I asked, like, why?
Talking about the same thing. Yeah, when I was in Taiwan.
And the answer I got, maybe not from everybody consistently, but the answer I got from a bunch of them is the air pollution, because the air pollution is so bad that, when the air quality is low, put a mask on.
Yeah.
Well, okay, I could kind of get that a little bit.
I'll also say that people wore them at that point when they were sick. They were looking out for other people, which was what they do a lot in other countries, is look out for other people. And they felt like they didn't want to cough on someone or do something on someone else. So they would wear them to keep a cold to themselves.
Or something like that. Yeah.
Right.
Which wouldn't apply in your car.
Yeah.
I don't know, right? There's a... and then here's a third one. This one's even more conspiracy-like, but I think this... So I had a friend of mine who would not put... the toll things that your automatic toll, what do they call them?
Easy Pass.
Yeah. Around here, they call it Easy Pass. They wouldn't put that in their car because they didn't want the government tracking them, right? And that there's cameras all over the place. So maybe there are people that are like,
oh, Bob.
I'm not saying that the person
came from you.
This isn't me. I have Easy Pass everywhere. No, I'm not that paranoid. This came from a friend of mine.
Yeah.
But they said that they wouldn't do so. Maybe people are wearing masks because they feel like they're being photographed, which probably they are.
Probably they are.
Right? We're all being surveilled all the time.
All the time.
Mm-hmm. So maybe those are things. I don't know. I'm throwing things out there because I'm trying to understand. You know,
All
I'm
right.
really trying to understand.
Yeah. And I think I like the first one. I think Nora's got it spot on. I think she's
allergies.
I think because allergies are worse than they've ever been. And let's face it, this isn't a coincidence. By the way, our allergies are worse than they've ever been. That when we get sick more often now. Our immune system is down. We weren't exposing it to anything for a long period of time, and my allergies got 10 times worse. Yeah. I think it's because my body wasn't used to fighting them. So because we were blocking it out with the mask and doing things like that. So maybe that's, again, this past year, my allergies were atrocious.
I mean, I always try to find logical explanations.
Yeah.
I mean, there is always the explanation, which usually is the right one, which is people are just nuts, right? But, but this could be something. There's another thing I liked about the masks. I mean, maybe one other thing is that, like with the Seinfeld episode with the close talkers, close talkers, which I can't stand close talkers. I like to maintain lots of distance, but like close talkers, when you're tasting
fun in
breakfast,
China then, didn't you? Because they're all close talkers when you go over.
Well, I don't know. Yeah, it's more, people are used to being more closely together because there's a lot more people, right? But definitely close talkers, that didn't bother me as much because there was a mask between us, two masks between us. In fact,
I couldn't feel your breath.
I couldn't smell what you had for lunch, right? So I was like,
exactly.
Yeah. So I don't understand people that do that. Like, I'm always paranoid about I'm never confident enough in my breath.
Right.
I mean, I don't know what it smells like at every given day. I'm sure there's bad days and good days, but I know that it never smells like flowers. Like, I'm not sure. Why would I feel ever confident enough to be like, hello, James, how are you?
I am exactly the same way. I am. So it's funny is I'm so conscious about that sort of stuff that I always had Altoids on me, right? So I always would walk around with little 10 Altoids, right? I always had them at work and stuff like that too. But when I started wearing the masks, I would still have an Altoid. Well, when you have an Altoid in your mouth and you have the mask, the mintiness goes right up to your eyeballs, right? Because it's going up the mask. Right. So my eyes were on fire. I had Altoids. I was like, oh my gosh, what's going on here? My eyes are bleeding from the Altoids.
That's funny.
Yeah. So I stopped doing that.
I'm the same way with that. I mean, but one of my solutions to it is don't get right up on somebody's face.
Keep a distance.
When people do that, I'm like, how are you that confident, right?
They can't realize that they're doing it. It's got to be something that people don't realize that they are. They maybe were, again, brought up that way. It's something that they knew in the family, some practice that they just want to get close. Sometimes it's probably about hearing and being able to hear people. Maybe I don't know. I think we're Italian and loud talk. I get close to someone. At some point, these hands are hitting somebody if I'm too close because they're always moving.
I'm spitting all over
I'm
people.
all over the place.
Me, if I get the right lighting, right, I'm watching this waterfall come out of my mouth. Like, my God,
exactly.
I wouldn't want to be within 20 feet of that. I don't care what it smells like.
Exactly.
It's awful.
I mean, exactly the same.
Right now. This is funny. This is going to sound disgusting, but I have my old setup here because I do classes online and everything else. And literally, I have to Windex all my monitors,
screens and monitors.
It's like, oh my God, what is?
How did that get on there?
Stuff. It was like, what is this? It's disgusting.
It's a little bit. It is a bit. Gross.
So do I really want to be in somebody's face? Moreover, do I want someone else in my face like that? It's a strange kind of these cultural things that we have. I don't get it. I don't get people.
Yeah,
I don't get people.
I don't get it either. Yeah. I don't get it either. Yeah. You mentioned something that's been on my mind a little bit, and it's just that it's kind of a big topic, but I'm going to leave it really broad.
We could do part one and part two if we need to.
I don't know. I think it's also I'm going to leave it very generic because I have thoughts in my head, but I want to say them the right way. I know people don't understand sort of where I'm coming from, but you said the thing words, right? We talk about words and things that are said.
Words. Yeah.
We have become so sensitive to words in this country that it is at the risk of being overly dramatic. It is canceling people. It is ruining lives. It is doing all of these things that it's not only words, but it's like words and then who might be saying them in this scenario and in that piece and this and that, but just the words itself. And we hold so much so tight to words, where people could be truly offended and literally want to kill you by a word that comes out of your mouth, right?
Yeah.
Which may sometimes be different than the thoughts that are within your head. They don't always match, right? But
or your interpretation is different than theirs. Like, there's no way
exactly
that
they don't match how you're
that.
receiving. Yeah. That's a better way of putting it, right? So I may say something, somebody may receive it in a very different way. It has made me, and I know we've talked about this too, cautious of what we say, how we say it, how do we express ourselves. You and I are two of, and I mean this, the most accepting people in the world, right? We don't look at a different group, but we don't like, we don't like certain groups or certain people based on their negativity or how they perceive or they view, but that is all based on
individuals,
not
groups
races or classes or anything like that, right? And it's just, when I think about words that are said and words that are banned and words that have done such damage, and how we as a culture are just receiving some of these things, it's like, guys, relax.
Well, it's a big topic. Yeah, it's a big topic. But I'll tell you this: what I've tried to recognize is that people who are like that react. First of all, what it's done more than anything is it has caused us to not be straightforward with each other, right? Yes. It's caused us, and comedy, forget it. There's no comedy anymore. Like, what are comedians like? That's what they did. They reveled in being able to pull things out of your gut that you didn't even know how to express it, and they express it in a way, and you're like, oh my God, yeah, I think that's all gone, right? It's like, and it's just taken us into a bad place. But what I try to think about is like, why does that happen? And it's usually the same thing. People who are reacting to words are angry people who are looking for a place to put their anger. So it really doesn't matter what you say, right? If you cancel all the words that they hate, they're going to find other words that you say that they'll hate, because it's not about the words. Yeah. It's about how they feel about themselves, right?
Yeah, that's true.
And that's all that it ever is. Yeah. So that's why this is a downward spiral. If we continue to cater to these people who are just angry people looking for someone to put their anger, it's never going to end. Right?
And we've given them a tool, right? So, if I say a word or I say a sentence or I talk to somebody, you have one thing, right? But when you write something, it could be translated in various different ways, right? Yeah. I put something out there that's meant to be positive and great, right? And somebody could turn it around and mean something totally different. I could wake up and say good morning, and that could be received in 5 different ways and made it to a negative thing. Oh, really? It's a good morning for you? Right. What do you mean good morning?
Assuming that it's a good morning for me, or you're not morning accepting?
It could be anything. It could
people who don't have good mornings. You're not inclusive with the morning.
You're taking away everything in communication outside of the words. And now what I'm seeing is, and why it leaves me hesitant to even write certain things, because I don't know how people are going to twist or say or communicate differently. Like my words that could get me in trouble. Yeah. And so we've come to this point where it's like people that, not putting this label on us, but I'll say we probably should have it, are intelligent, are not giving intelligent viewpoints because they're afraid of how they're going to be perceived. People that don't care, they are just throwing stuff out there and they just don't care. And you're getting all these things. Oh yeah, view me for whatever. Here's what I am. Here's what's going on. Here's this, here's that. And it's just, it's brought us to a tough place.
Tough place. It can't last though.
I want to communicate more, Bob. This is what I'm trying to say. Like, I want to write more. I want to say more. I want to do more.
Even on the show, we were always very reserved because we don't want to offend anybody. And, I still think that's probably the right thing to do based on the fact that we have careers and jobs and this and that and the other thing. But it's only right because that's the society that we currently live in. We should be able to say and feel whatever we want, and other people just say, "Oh, it's just the way Bob thinks," right? Yeah. Doesn't mean that like he's whatever.
Not this or that, right?
Yeah, it's a terrible kind of an environment. But again, it can't last because if it's like anything. If everything that comes out of your mouth is the wrong thing to say, then eventually nothing can come out of your mouth. We can't live that way. We become pressure cookers, and then it's going to get way worse, right? Yeah. So it's like, I don't see that lasting forever, but it is a tough thing right now. And again, I think it's the social media and everything else, people that everybody has a voice, right? And so we have to listen to everybody's voice. And it's like, we really shouldn't listen to everybody's voice.
And the problem is we're giving everybody a voice, but from my perspective, the people's voices we should be hearing are so aware of how people are twisting and changing and adjusting what's being said, so they're staying quiet. Yeah. And they're not saying, and those are the real smart, the good perspectives, the thoughtful people, all of those things. And that's where the danger really comes in, because the only voice we're able to hear are the people that don't care, right? They don't care if you twist this. You don't do that. They may not be as thoughtful about what they're saying. They may not have done the research. They may not have done X, Y, and Z. And that's the real danger when I think about sort of what's going on right now, and the twisting and the attacking and the anger and the negativity and the this versus this person versus this. Everything is argumentative, and no matter what it is, it's causing a problem. And like I said, Bob, I want to talk more. I want to say more. I want to type more. I want to respond to people. I've probably written
me
50
too,
different, I'd say 150 different things that I have just gone along afterwards and been like, I'm going to delete this, because my thought is maybe I can help teach them something. Maybe I can give a different perspective.
Yeah, but you can't.
But that's they're not receptive to that in that arena.
And here's the thing that I would say too, that, as far as a solution, I don't know that anybody who's like this is going to listen, but you've got to differentiate personal attacks from just people having opinions about things, right? Like if I say something, and use a word to describe something, it doesn't mean I'm attacking you, right? It's like, There's a big difference from me saying, James, you're an idiot, right? And me using the word idiot. Like, I can use the word idiot. That's not something, but I'm, if I call you an idiot, okay, I understand how you might get a little bit upset at that. And even that, call me an idiot back, right? Right. And it's like, it's not that big of a deal.
Right.
But okay. I mean, if you want to say like a personal attack crosses a different line, I could almost go there, but you're trying to get me to not say anything ever, right? That, like, just stop using a word. And that's crazy. That to me is crazy.
And
right?
they do become, it's like, a lot of the time it does become a personal attack. But even if you don't put one out there, right? It could be like, well, you don't know what the heck you're talking about because this, and you're like, that's not what I meant. That's not what I said. That's not where I was coming from. That's not, and then you realize, how much energy do I want to put into this, right?
Yeah.
But when everybody stops giving that energy to an intelligent thought, then all we are left with are the unintelligent thoughts, are the combative, negative people and that's, I feel like, where we're getting, is this place where it's only the people that want to put up, and they're just waiting for somebody to say something so they can punch you. You could make total sense, but they're just waiting for something and somewhere to fight you. Yeah. And like, I don't want to do that. And I got enough going on here. I don't have enough in my life. I don't need to fight people online.
Anger. Well, I've been more and more proud of myself about like trying to avoid people like that. When I see somebody like that, I'm like, you know what, forget it. I had another eBay story, right? But this is a recent thing. I told you, about those stories. Yeah. But this was another one. I bought something. I got something that was clearly damaged, clearly hidden in the pictures, right? Whatever. Right. And I'm like, okay, do I even engage with this? Because I know that a person who did this, and sometimes, people legitimately didn't see it. They're doing a lot of sales, whatever else. And so, okay, so I usually do try and tell them, hey, just to let you know, whatever, I'm not looking for anything. And the people that legitimately missed it, they're like, oh my God, I'm so sorry.
Right?
They either apologize or they say, let me give you a couple of bucks, whatever else. It's like, and you're like, good, okay. And then you get the one who clearly was trying to screw
pull
you,
the wool
right?
over your eyes.
And they're angry people who are doing angry things, and they're like, well, it wasn't like that when I did it. And you're like,
okay.
And old Bob would have engaged that, right? And tried to win.
Good for you.
Yeah, because but new Bob is like,
good for you, Bob.
No, I'm not going to engage. It's like, good. You know what? Forget it. But I think, and I bring that story up because I really think it's the same type of thing. When you run into somebody who's just an angry, miserable person who's clearly not happy with their life or whatever else. I don't want to project too much on an eBay person, but whatever. Yeah. Like,
sure. Example.
No matter what you say, you're not going to argue them into convincing them, because it's not about them being right or wrong. It's them about being angry, and they are putting it somewhere, right? They think the world is screwing them, so they're going to screw the world back. I mean, and you're never going to win that argument. So to me, the best thing to do is walk away from it.
Yeah,
and the problem is that the internet doesn't do that. Like, I wish the internet learned to recognize people like that and be like, yeah, okay, whatever. Yeah. You go into your corner and we're going to have a logical adult discussion, right? But it doesn't do that for some reason. Like, we elevate those people, and that's where I think the issue is, right?
I totally agree. I totally agree.
I don't know.
It's where the clicks go for some reason, right? But that's a media thing too. Yeah, it's the same thing as, again, we don't get back into that piece, but that's part of where the media does things too, right? It's like, where do the clicks go? Who looks at it? Who reads stuff? No one's going to read a passive little friendly conversation. But meanwhile, you could change the way somebody views something if that's the case, right? People view the anger, which doesn't change anything, just creates more animosity, and they want to read, oh my God, look at what this person wrote. Look at what this person wrote. Look at this thing or that thing or whatever. And that's why it's that positive attention from the likes, the following, all the stuff. So if I'm a big jerk, then maybe somebody will follow what I'm saying as a big jerk.
That's right. And so we even bait people into it because we know it's going to get clicks.
Of course, for sure.
It's a very, very dangerous slope, right? And eventually it's got to correct itself. I despise it. It's got to correct itself because we can't live that way. As humans, we're not meant to be stifled that much, right? It's just not logical. So we'll find other outlets, right? Like Beyond the Beef.
Beyond the Beef. Yeah, come listen. Come listen. So, be self-aware and listen up a little bit. Maybe change how you approach some things, but we have fun doing this.
Yeah. Speaking of which, I guess we have to wrap it up. And see how much quicker it goes when we're negative? I tried to tell you. Meanwhile, all this stuff we're talking about is being the problem. Like we start off by saying, we're doing it. I mean, we're not doing it. We're not. I don't know. Maybe people could tell us that we're doing it.
We're giving high-level situations of things that are bugging us to make people aware. This is the whole thing about, hey, these things are going on out there. Here are things that we can work to correct. Let's think about these actions. Let's think about when we're responding to somebody. Let's think about why we're posting certain things. If we're just looking to pick a fight, maybe it's not time to fight. Maybe be more like Bob. Get over that a little bit. Be a little more peaceful. Bob's Beyond the Beef's doing a lot of good work for you, Bob. Doing a lot of good work for you.
I've never done that before. I've never done it before. I was literally like, just, even in the car. Oh man, I'll have to tell you that next week.
A little less road rage, a little assuming positive intent.
No road rage.
Good for you.
No road rage, and boy, do I have stories. Okay, I like these cliffhangers, so
let's do it next time.
I'll give you some Bob road rage stories next week.
I can't wait. I like them.
They're terrible. There's a few. There's a few that are bad, but they never end up working out in my favor.
No, of course they don't.
So of course not, right? Because you're not going to teach somebody a lesson. It doesn't work. It doesn't work.
Your anger, yelling, and middle finger is going to make me drive better next time.
Right? It doesn't work.
No, it doesn't work.
Anyway, all right, let's leave it there. Give us some feedback. Give us some comments. And for crying out loud, tell us why people are wearing masks in their car. Again, no judgment. I really want to know if there's a reason, you have a good reason, whatever else, then tell us. But I guess while people are doing that, we'll get ready for next week and we'll see you back here on another episode of
Beyond the Beef.
Thanks for joining, everyone.
Thanks, guys.